Good evening and welcome to the webinar. Today we have Dr. Soumya with us, an Ayurveda physician and a wellness coach. Dr. Soumya has worked towards spreading awareness on health and sustainable living for more than a decade. She is currently working as an associate professor specializing in a branch of Ayurveda known as Kaya Chikitsa, and that's general medicine. During today's webinar, Dr. Soumya will be speaking about Ayurveda on a general sense and introduce Ayurveda to us. Before we get started, I would like to remind everyone that we will be taking questions from the audience in Ayurdynamic app, and the questions will be answered in the follow-up session that will be held tomorrow at the same time. Don't miss it. Don't forget to share the questions or comments in Ayurdynamic app, and we will do our best to address them during the Q&A session tomorrow. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our speaker, Dr. Soumya.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you so much for the introduction. Good evening, everyone, for people who are attending from Indian time zones. And hello, everyone who have joined here. I warmly welcome you to this Vastam webinar series. It's in fact a pleasure to introduce Ayurveda to all the enthusiasts, proponents, and practitioners of Ayurveda who are present in this webinar, in fact. First, we'll know what exactly the word swasthyam means. Right. So swasthyam is refers to the fitness and well-being, actually. So a way to achieve swasthya is to be aware of the entirety to self, with respect to body, mind, soul, and whatever is concerned with the body, with ourselves. And this is what is called probably as the holistic science. So in this particular webinar, we aim to share authentic Ayurveda knowledge, which would actually help you decide if Ayurveda is the right source of healing for you, if it is the right source of fitness, well-being for you. So that is most important. We would like to share our experiences with Ayurveda, our clinical experiences, our success stories, and the traditional concepts of Ayurveda, which would help you stay healthy and stay away from pills. So that is the main aim of Swasthyam webinar series. So we are kickstarting the webinar series today with the webinar on with the talk on introduction to Ayurveda, about the basics of Ayurveda. So let's start the webinar with, as I told you, what is Ayurveda first, and the origination. All right. So the origination of Ayurveda, the misconceptions of Ayurveda, and the falsities what are there in people's mind, and what are the general myths what are associated with Ayurveda in the general public. So we will start with addressing that, and also about we also would discuss about why you must consider Ayurveda lifestyle, and also why it is essential to adopt Ayurveda as a medicine, as a healing science. All right. So first, let us know what is Ayurveda. Right, so the word Ayurveda, for that, first we have to know what is the meaning of the word Ayurveda. Ayurveda is basically made up of two words, that is Ayu and Veda. So Ayu refers to any life. Veda refers to knowledge. So Veda is the, it can be taken as any system of knowledge or any branch of knowledge. So this in itself makes Ayurveda a very broad science. All right. So it's not taken as only a medical science, but it's also taken as a holistic science, which covers many things. All right. So basically, this, in a thorough sense, it makes the knowledge of all lives, and not only concerning the human life, in fact. And this is actually true, because Ayurveda, you have these branches which are talked about, like the Pashu Ayurveda or the Vriksha Ayurveda. So Pashu Ayurveda is something which deals with the animal or the veterinary science. Pashu is related to animals, and it is something to do with the veterinary science. The scriptures say that it also has descriptions about the, taking care of the elephants, the cattle, the horses, and, all sorts of animal life. And it also has descriptions about Vriksha Ayurveda, which means that it is a plant science or the botany. All right, so it has various descriptions about the plants and the identifications and their properties and everything, and taking care of plant and so on. So this shows that Ayurveda is not just a science, it's not just a medical science. It is a vast science including everything which is living. Right? So it's basically can be taken as the science of any life. It's science of life. And yeah, of course, experts also say that it's a part of Ayurveda anyway. So moving forward to the next concern as to what is the origin of Ayurveda. Where did this science of life originate from? Where did it come from, basically? So here, the origin of Ayurveda, came into being basically from the very ancient time, thousands of years ago, where there was sickness and mortality and morbidities all around with people. So at that time, for the well-being of the humankind, Ayurveda has been originated on earth as per the scriptures. And the most interesting part is that it is Indian in origin. It is very much indigenous in origin. uh, but as okay, we are talking about the origin of Ayurveda, but as such, the science is said to be Anadi. Okay, so what is Anadi now? Anadi is something which doesn't have an origin. And so it is believed that Ayurveda has always been at the back of the mind with Lord Brahma, who is the creator, who is known to be the creator of this world. And it is transcended to all the other gods, and finally it reached the earth for the well-being of the humankind. So this itself proves that Ayurveda is something which has got to this, which came to this earth for the well-being of the people and not for any commercial purposes. So this itself gives a ethical background to Ayurveda's origin on this planet. And yeah, for many years after that, once it came to this world through the sages, Ayurveda came as an oral tradition. All right, so there were no written scriptures in Ayurveda until then, and it came as oral traditions from mouth to mouth. Okay, from the Guru Shishya Parampara and all that. But we have this first text of Ayurveda, which is the Charaka Samhita. All right, Acharya Charaka, who we call Sage Charaka, who wrote Charaka Samhita, he in fact wrote the first text of Ayurveda thousands of years ago. And after that, we get the references of many other textbooks which are written by many other authors, like say Sushruta, for that matter, Sushrutacharya, who wrote the Sushruta Samhita, and the Vagbhatacharya, who wrote Ashtanga Hridaya and Ashtanga Sangraha, and you get many other scriptures. So these three texts basically form the big trio, that is the Brihatrayis of Ayurveda, and they are considered as the main texts of Ayurveda. The Charaka Samhita, the Sushruta Samhita, and the Ashtanga Hridaya, for that matter. So like this, Ayurveda also has its base of getting inherited from the gods to the sages and to the disciples, and thereby from the Guru Shishya Parampara it came to many of the people who were running medical schools at that time with the Guru Shishya Paramparas. So this is how the origin of Ayurveda began. So it was thousands of years ago, and the theories stated in many of the scriptures, like as I told you, Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, gives a detailed explanation as to how Ayurveda was born on this planet, or it came to this planet. All right. So we also have, from talking about the origin of Ayurveda, we'll definitely have to talk about certain, the feathers on the cap of Ayurveda. Like, say, as I told you, Acharya Charaka was the first, doctor who was concerned basically with, all the medicine interventions, whereas Acharya Sushruta was considered to be the first surgeon in this world. And he also has to his credit of various credits to his cap of performing for example, dissection over a dead body for learning anatomy and various research purposes. And he also has to his credit many other things like certain surgical or parasurgical procedures, and also the there is also explanations about the rhinoplasties and various other procedures which are related to uh, all the branches, in fact, like the may it be obstetrics, may it be the gynecology, whether it is the proper surgical procedures. You have the descriptions of many branches, even the ENT surgeries for that matter. So the origin of Ayurveda is so vibrant, I meant to say, is that there is a vast amount of explanation by various authors, which is concerning to many branches of Ayurveda, in fact. So, having been discussed about what is Ayurveda and what are the origins of Ayurveda, let us move on to what are the common misconceptions people have about Ayurveda. Right. So having been practiced for more than 10 years and 15 years, the patients we see in the OPDs and the clinics, we definitely get to know that there are certain misconceptions which are the myths which are embedded in people's mind, and they are very far from truth. Of course, we know that, but somehow it has got its way to the society. So it becomes my duty as a physician to clear the misnomers public has about the science. So going to the first misconception, which I generally come across, and I'm sure most of the Ayurveda doctors come across, is that Ayurveda is a book of home remedies. All right, so it is quite far from truth. Generally, people think about Ayurveda as a book of home remedies, which is, of course, policy. All right, but because we already know, we have already discussed that it's a complete science of all lives, not only a medical science for that matter. So the misconception this Ayurveda is related to only kitchen remedies, like say some turmeric, some honey, some pepper, and some ginger. This is all about Ayurveda is completely false. Okay, so it is isn't true. So it is the common misconception is that it's a home remedy, but it is not. Moving on to the next myth, in fact, this is very much carved in people's mind that it works slow, right? So, but again, I would like to clear the air around it that it is not true. All right, because it works as fast as any other medicines, provided it is diagnosed properly and it is treated spot on. And yeah, so we have seen this in many of the cases as well, whether you take a common cold, or you take fever, or you take acidity, or anything related to the urinary tract, and uh, you know uh, loose stools for that matter, and vomiting. You consider so many conditions. They are um, it works so fast with Ayurveda medicines. So I would like to definitely tell you, with the confidence of the practice I have gone through, is that, and what I've learned from my teachers, of course, is that it is not slow. It is definitely not slow. And it works as fast as any other medicines for that matter, for various health conditions. Again, so the next popular myth which we often hear and read from various sources, that it's unscientific. Because we might have read many articles stating that it is not a very scientific science and you cannot prove various things in that, and all. It's generally a misnomer, because what is the word science for that matter? You have to understand what is the word science for this. Science is something, is it is a system, or the steps, or the pathway which is followed to get some knowledge, or some concept, to get some evidence, or to go to a conclusion of some knowledge. All right, so, and Ayurveda has definitely proven right over the time since thousands of years, because apparently, yeah, before the other systems of medicine like the allopathic science, which is like hardly 4 5 centuries old, until then, India was having the main system of medical science in the form of Ayurveda. So we had these traditional Vaidyas who used to cure people, and you might have heard stories about such things. But yeah, so the concept that why most of the people think that Ayurveda is something which is not proven, which is not very scientific, so it's risky to take Ayurveda medicines, is completely false. You can definitely turn towards Ayurveda because it's as scientific as other sciences, and definitely various research works have been speeding up in Ayurveda these days, and there are so much of research works going on, which definitely proves the efficacy and safety of the Ayurveda's medicines as such. So definitely we can keep this thing in mind that it's not unscientific. So moving on to the next myth, the next most common thought is that Ayurveda medicines have no side effects. Okay, so we have to. So generally, the word side effects tends to make us think that it is a bad effect. That is a general thinking and a general notion, and it's right. There's nothing wrong with it. But I would like to say that if we analyze the word side effects, what exactly does it tell us? It tells us something, the effects which are happening at the site. That is something apart from the intended or the desired effect. Like for say for example, we give a medicine for something, and that is the intended effect for a condition. Say for example, I treat someone for a fever, and reducing the fever is the intended effect. And uh, apart from that effect, something which is happening at the side is called as the side effect. And it need not be bad every time. Okay, it may be a good thing too. Like, say, for example, if we give medicine for a respiratory ailment, all right, it might also improve your appetite along with reducing your respiratory symptoms. And it can also, clear your bowels for that matter. So it could have the other effects as well. So it is not right that Ayurveda medicine doesn't have a side effect. It can have a side effect when taken wrongly. It can have a good side effect when given very thoughtfully. So this is again one common myth I wanted to address about. And so moving on, most commonly found assumption is of the incompatibility. So what is this incompatibility about? Most people think that Ayurveda medicines can't be taken along with other systems of medicine. So it's not baseless, of course, because it's quite natural for a non-medical to get such a doubt. But why I'm pointing out it is, most of the times there won't be an environment of incompatibility created when different systems of medicines are taken together. uh, and assuming that, most people automatically stop taking the regular medicines which they were used to taking before the Ayurveda consultations, and they make some self-motivated decisions, and without consulting they stop their medications. This could be very dangerous. Okay, so all I can say is that it could be dangerous to stop medications suddenly, especially the ones like the blood pressure medications or the diabetes mellitus medications or the steroidal therapies or the antibiotics, which you tend to stop in between once you consult an Ayurveda doctor. So what general people have in mind is, they consult an Ayurveda doctor, start taking the Ayurveda medicines, automatically means that you have to stop the other medicines, which is definitely false. Of course, it's always safer to have a 10 to 15 minute time gap between the two systems of medicines, which we generally advise. But still, this is definitely far from truth. And for anything, um, I would always suggest you to take a consultation with your doctor, and ask your doctor which has to be continued and which need not be continued. So I hope I have cleared the vital misconceptions of Ayurveda, and which I regularly note, of course, in clinical practice. If there are any other doubts about Ayurveda you carry, please shoot your questions after the session as announced. And we'll definitely try to clear the air about all the myths and about all the beliefs you have about Ayurveda or all the doubts you have. So moving on, finally, the most important question: why Ayurveda? Why is it a good decision to accept Ayurveda as a lifestyle and as a medical science? All right. So the first reason is because it is holistic. All right. Now, what is holistic? Because it treats the patient as a whole, and it doesn't treat only the disease. It cures the disease, it strengthens the affected part of the body, it rejuvenates, it prevents further episodes, and there are so many other benefits which you come across when a holistic system of medicine is taken. All right, so it is very important to mention that the Ayurveda generally has a multidimensional approach of healing, and it takes care of the body, mind, and soul, all right, simultaneously. And the next reason being the customization. So now it's important to know why customization of medicines is important. Customization of treatment is important. Ayurveda believes that every person is different and not the same medicine works for all. It considers many aspects like the body constitution or the prakriti, what you say, maybe the age of the patient, the affected part of the body, the doshas which are involved, the state of the gut of the patient when the disease happened, and the stage of the disease, the tolerability to the treatment. There are so many factors which are to be considered, and all these factors need not be the same for all the patients. And this could be a more practical approach, as no two body and mind are exactly the same. All right, so we'll see that, except of course for the identical twins where the bodies are pretty much similar. Apart from that, you don't see two very similar individuals, all are different. So the customized approach in Ayurveda. So going to the next reason why Ayurveda is its preventive aspects. The first introducer of preventive medicine is proudly our science. And when contemporary science almost have this concept of preventive and social medicine from a 1 or 2 centuries ago, from the time when the vaccine started getting introduced and all that, Ayurveda discusses endless concept of prevention, like the dinacharya, the daily regimen, the seasonal regimens, the sleep regimens or the night regimens, the rejuvenators, the reproductive health, the seasonal detoxifications, the mental health concerns. It tells us hundreds of concepts of prevention, which we, of course, will detailedly discuss about all these topics individually in the coming webinars. So going to the next reason as to why Ayurveda is because it is a natural and permanent cure. Okay, it's a natural and permanent cure. So indigenously we have this concept called as the Loka Purusha Samya, that is the universe. Loka is the universe, and the Purusha is a living being. So Samya is the similarity. So the universe and the living being are made up of same elements, basically, which are called as the Panchamahabhutas, which you might have heard of. The five basic elements, which are earth, water, fire, wind, and space. That is Prithvi, Ap, Teja, Vayu, Akasha, which we tell in Sanskrit. So no matter anything you see in this world are made up of these things. So the imbalance in the body can be basically corrected by the elements found in the universe. Either it can be herbal, it can be herbo mineral or mineral sources. So the basic concept is the problem arises from the nature and the solution comes from the nature. All right. So this is the concept of why we need natural cure. All right. So again, another reason why Ayurveda is because it's, as I told you, it's a cure. It's not just a temporary fix. You just give paracetamol to fever and the fever reduces. It's not like that. But the reason for the fever remains the same. So it's not like that. It cures everything from the the basic cause. From the basic root. So I think that's a very good reason why everyone have to take up Ayurveda, because that's a much holistic approach to whatever the problem is happening. All right. So these are some of the reasons, of course. And as I told you, yeah, focusing on the source, it focuses on the source and it eliminates the problem. And the one advantage of this focusing on the source is that it prevents the further episodes. It prevents the further episodes. So that is why Ayurveda should be considered as one of the main systems of medicine and of healing. Why people have to consider. There are of course many more reasons, but we are limiting to these reasons here. And anything which you feel that Ayurveda has to be taken up, you can the reason why Ayurveda has to be taken up, you can definitely start a discussion in the Ayurdynamic app. We'll be posting the link of the app soon, and you can definitely download the app and put your concerns there. All right. So having said this, I hope I have succeeded in clearing few concepts in a limited time, about what is Ayurveda, where is the origin of Ayurveda, what are the myths of Ayurveda, and why Ayurveda have to be taken up. So
Got questions? We'll be glad to answer your questions in the follow up session happening tomorrow at the same time. Don't miss it.
okay. So thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you for taking a step towards organic driven health and wellness mindset. We'll be definitely having a lot in our mind to do, both in the app and the webinar series. And about Ayurveda, about health, any questions, please shoot us. And what you want to hear in the coming webinars as well, please feel free to post it in the Ayurdynamics dynamic app. We are definitely going to provide you the app link in the WhatsApp group. So please stay tuned there, because there is so much more we are planning in the app as well. So kindly download it. And thank you so much.